Today, we're taking a deep dive into how one of the oldest, biggest industrial giants out there is trying to totally reinvent itself for a new world. This is Bosch's blueprint for the future.
So let's just jump right in with a big question. What happens when a global giant, a company pulling in over 91 billion euros a year, suddenly finds itself at a really dangerous crossroads?
Because, well, that's exactly the spot Bosch is in right now. I mean, think about it. This is a company with over 400,000 employees, operations in more than 60 countries. It's a true global powerhouse. And yet, despite all that size and history, it's up against some serious headwinds that are challenging its very core.
All right, so let's get into the numbers that really paint the picture here. While their sales revenue is a massive 91 billion euros, their actual operating profit, that has shrunk to a razor-thin 2%. For a company this big, that is a huge red flag, and it's why they're calling this a difficult financial year.
But here's the thing. This isn't just a blip on the radar or one tough year. It's part of a much, much bigger shift, something people are calling a global industrial metamorphosis. Basically, the old way of just building and selling hardware, it's not enough anymore. The whole game is being changed by software and the push for a greener planet.
So what do you do when you're a giant facing a crisis like this? You don't just tweak things around the edges. No, you go for a radical, company-wide pivot. And for Bosch, that pivot has a name, Strategy 2030.
And when I say the goals are ambitious, I mean they are huge. First off, they want to be a top 3 player in every single key market they're in. Second, they're trying to transform from a classic hardware company into a high-tech powerhouse. And the big one, get that profit margin back up to a healthy 7% by 2027 to make sure they're competitive for the long haul.
And you can hear this confidence right from the top. The chairman, Stefan Hartung, makes it clear this isn't just about playing defense. The whole point of the strategy is not just to survive today's tough economy, but to go out and grab the massive opportunities of tomorrow.
Okay, so let's break this strategy down. We're going to start with Pillar 1, and it's the biggest one by far, completely rethinking the automobile. This is where their largest business, mobility, gets a serious upgrade.
The key idea here is something called the software-defined vehicle, or SDV. Now, the best way to get your head around this is to stop thinking about a car and start thinking about your smartphone. For 100 years, a car was all about its hardware. With an SDV, the software is what defines it, and that software can be updated and improved long after you've driven it off the lot. And really, the difference is night and day. A traditional car is at its absolute best the moment you buy it, and its value just goes down. But a software-defined vehicle, just like your phone, it can actually get better over time with new updates. It's no longer just a mechanical machine, it's literally a computer on wheels.
So you might be wondering, is this just a cool idea, or is it actually working? Well, the market is screaming yes. Bosch has already locked in 10 billion euros in actual orders for the computers, the sensors, and the software that makes this whole new kind of car possible.
Okay, so that's the car. But Bosch's plan is way bigger than just mobility. Let's move on to the second major pillar of their strategy, which is a massive bet on the global push for a more sustainable, decarbonized world.
Now, if you look at their sales, yeah, mobility is the giant, making up over 60%. But what's really interesting is how they're weaving this green strategy through everything they do, from their industrial tech all the way to consumer goods, and especially their energy and building technology. So where are they putting their money? Well, 2 huge areas really jump out. First, hydrogen. They are investing like crazy to become a major player in the hydrogen economy, and they're aiming for billions in sales from it by 2030. And second, HVAC. They're making huge acquisitions to become a top global supplier of super efficient heating and cooling systems for our homes.
Right, so a smart car, a green energy grid, all this stuff sounds amazing. But what's actually making it all possible? What's the engine underneath all of this? Well, that's where we find the real foundation of Strategy 2030.
First up, you've got a massive investment in brains, basically. We're talking 2.5 billion euros being poured into artificial intelligence by 2027. The idea is for every single Bosch product to either have AI inside it or be built using AI. Everything gets smarter.
And of course, all that smart software needs some serious hardware to run on. That's why Bosch is dropping another $1.5 billion to get a factory up and running that can produce advanced silicon carbide chips. These are the super efficient little brains that are absolutely essential for the next generation of electric cars. And what ties all of this together, what keeps the innovation engine running, is a staggering amount of money they pour into R&D. Over 7 billion euros every single year. That's what fuels this entire vision.
And this is so important to understand. These aren't just separate little side projects. The AI, these next-gen chips, that constant R&D, they're the digital and electronic bedrock for the entire Strategy 2030 vision. Without them, none of the other stuff is possible.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Let's pull it all together. What's the big takeaway from all this? What does it all mean?
What we're really watching here is a fundamental ground-up pivot. Bosch is trying to morph from a legacy industrial parts supplier, a company famous for making things, into something completely different, a software-defined, carbon-neutral technology leader.
And you know, it's funny, in a way, this whole crazy, high-stakes gamble connects right back to their mission statement from over a century ago, invented for life. It's like they're redefining what that means for today, using AI, software, and clean energy to improve our lives. Which leaves us with one final massive question. A question that really sums up this entire moment for them. With billions on the line and a total shift in who they are, is Bosch successfully engineering the future? Or are they betting the entire company on it?